Hello, I'm Jeff.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Tom.
And we are three old Reds fans. And we're back for our second podcast. And a week ago or so, we were in the dumps, weren't we?
We sure were.
The Reds couldn't win a game, couldn't get anybody out, couldn't score any runs. A week later,
here we are. First place, baby.
We woke up in first place today. Who'd have thunk it? So, but before we get into all that, we had a trivia question last week, which nobody answered, all 6 or 7 of our followers so far. But we'll get there. This is a building process. We're kind of like the Reds. We're starting young. We're going to build ourselves
starting
up.
young.
Yeah. We're old, starting young. So last week's question was what, Kim?
The question we asked was, who was the first designated hitter in the National League? And often Jeff and Tom and I will text each other, especially during games, and we'll have trivia time and such. But evidently, somehow or another, Tom was not part of this trivia question. So Tom doesn't know the answer, so he wants to try to answer it.
Yeah, so I'm using the deductive reasoning. So I'm assuming here, because we're three old Reds fans, that this has a connection to the Reds. So I'm guessing maybe 1975 when the Reds were in the World Series. Or maybe 76. Am I warm there, guys?
You're warm.
Is that warmer? I'm either.
Yeah. But yeah, we're not going to give you the year. I mean,
you're warm.
Okay, and then I'm guessing it's somebody, the ninth man for the Reds. So, like an Armbruster or somebody like that for the Reds.
Somebody like that, but not
like
exactly
that, but it
like
wasn't
that.
Ed Armbruster.
And he did DH in the World Series.
George Foster or
George played left field.
Who was a good player.
All right, it was not the 75 series.
Really?
The most controversial trade, I believe it was Bob Howsam, or who was the GM?
Yeah,
he was the GM.
Dick
Wagner.
Later on, Wagner.
It was Wagner, or was it Howsam tried to do it? Whatever.
I think Wagner. He came back later on, many years later, and says he regrets ever trading this player away. As a result of trading this player away,
Paul O'Neill.
After the 75 season.
70.
After the 75 season, because he played in the 75 series. Well, yeah, you're right. He played in the 76 series too.
It was like 77 or 78.
But traded him. Okay, so they traded this guy later on, so this DH player could play every day in the field. So think of it. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It was a Reds infielder that they traded away, so they could put this guy on the field. So go by position. You know it wasn't the catcher. So go from there, Tom.
He's a Hall of Famer.
What did you say? Oh, don't.
Well, I mean, you got Morgan at second and Concepcion at short. And
who played first?
Keep going.
Dan Dreesen.
Well, who played first in the World Series? Perez. And so they traded Perez. So who could play first?
So Dreesen could play first?
Yeah.
Dreesen's your answer.
Yeah, he DH'd in the 76 series, right?
That's correct.
That was the first year of the DH?
So the answer to our first trivia question is Dan Dreesen.
I don't know if that's the first year of the DH. It's the first year they put it in the series. I think the DH was
of the DH that they had it in the series, because I think they may have alternated a year. They didn't do the home and away.
Anyway.
But I think it started. I think it started in '73. I think Ron Bloomberg of the Yankees was the first DH.
Okay,
it's a good trivia question. Now we need one for the next week.
Yeah, so go ahead and ask it, and then we'll revisit it again later. You had
the
another
trivia question.
Yeah.
Okay. Pete Rose, known as a singles hitter, stretching him out to a doubles, but he did have 3 homers in one game. Who was the team that he hit 3 homers against? We all know it, so we're not going to say it on the air.
And it was in their
now.
Stadium, right?
It was in their stadium. It was an away game.
All right. Very good.
And I was there. I was there in person.
You were there.
I was there.
All right. So, can you prove that?
You have to take a step.
Probably not. Final score was 14-7 Reds.
Yeah. So what? This team right now. I mean, it's Monday evening when we're recording this. We're pausing the game here. The Reds and the Yankees just got underway, and they're down 3-1 right now. And we're taking time to do this because we can finally get together here and do this and talk about the Reds. So what have they won? 6 out of 7, something like that.
That's correct.
17 and 14 right
17 and 14. We woke up in first place. Kim, what's the biggest? Give us one reason why this has happened. What's one thing you see?
Collective hitting.
Collective hitting.
Timely hitting.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think the strength of this ball club is right now?
Well, they can score.
What about the relief pitching?
Scoring and relief pitching. Starting pitching is the struggle, but they've proven with Garrett the other day, even against the Giants, they've proven when the starting pitching is at least pretty good, they're going to win a lot of games. Now, when it's really bad, it's hard for anybody to win. But Feldman's not going to throw a shutout every time out either, like he did last night. But still, when they get some starting pitching, it all comes together.
I think we got to talk about the real reason that they're in first place.
Wow, it's Schebler.
That's not what I was going to say. Why does that come up with every?
I like the guy.
He's
pulling his weight. He's pulling his weight.
I think the real reason that the Reds are in first place right now is Brian Price obviously listened to our last podcast. He moved Zach Kozar to the second spot in the order.
Yeah, well, he's one of the 6 guys that listened, I think. No, you're right.
I mean, what's Zach hitting 351 now?
Yeah.
He started out cold, too.
He
Did
did,
go
first
1 for
few
14 in the 2-hole. And then Jeff one night texted back, you got what you want. This is what you asked for. But Zach's turned it around.
I really like our first 6 hitters.
I still think our key. And in this last half inning, those 2 guys didn't come through. Duvall and Suarez. You know what you're going to get from Joey, right? Zach's doing hopefully
what he's going to do.
It up. Billy's needs to do what he's doing now, but more consistently.
Yeah, your 4 or 5.
And I think Suarez is a key.
Your 4 or 5 had to produce. Your 4 or 5 has to produce consistent, and they have been. They just didn't in that inning, and they're not going to every inning.
Even if Billy does Billy and pops the ball up and hits 210, Kozart and Joey are going to get on base. Yeah. And so you need your 4 or 5.
Yeah. Well, and Billy's been hitting, which has been fun to just watch him run the bases and create havoc and disrupt everybody.
The big question mark is right field.
Whatever. Whatever.
So for our listeners,
he's
raised
his average like 60 points since the last time we talked.
The word man crush comes to mind.
Jeff's got a man crush on Scott Schebler. It's a little disturbing.
No, not too much.
Well, I get texts with a heart when we talk about Schebler. I mean, I've got proof of this one. This is a little disturbing.
And he's on fire right now.
Well, he's been hitting. Yeah, even when like the other day, I think he went like 0 for 4, and he came back and got a couple hits the next day. It wasn't like he's going to go in this long extended thing, and he's not going to hit. And he's not going to hit 400 like he did that one week forever. I mean, nobody does, right? Or 375 or whatever he hit for a week, and it's not going to happen. But he's starting to establish some consistency, which really is reflective of the whole team right now. Just a little more consistency, and and we like to see that stuff. That's the kind of stuff we need. So, one thing I think in the offense is as we were talking earlier before we got started. I think there's a lot more patience at the plate by people. I think you see guys, when it's the pitch to pull, they pull it. When it's a pitch to take it up the middle, they take it up the middle. When it's that pitch on the outside part,
go with it. Take
it the other way. It seems like they're doing that. They're hitting balls through shifts. You see some ground balls that like through big holes in the infield, crossing up the shift, and the scouting reports a little bit. So that's good to see.
We'll see how they respond because as the season goes on, the scouts pick up tendencies and they're going to have to make adjustments. So Joey obviously knows how to make adjustments. I mean, Zach hit the ball well before he was injured too. Yeah, he's pretty established. Duvall had a good half a season last year.
He still finished with 100 RBIs. He can't. Even his second half wasn't as good as his first half. It wasn't like it was terrible.
We just don't need a Reds home run hitter in the Derby because 2 years ago Todd Frazier did the same thing.
Yeah, and then kind of fell off. But Frazier's continuing to play well. So,
but Suarez is, I don't think we expect him to in that 5-hole to hit 330.
No,
but if he can hit 300,
if he can even 280 to 290,
right,
with the occasional power, and get up to about 22 to 26 home runs,
that's all you need. That'll be good shape.
So what's the Reds schedule look like coming up? Do you guys know?
They're going
to San Fran.
Yeah, they leave here
and then
go to San Francisco. Cubbies. They got a day off before they get to San Francisco, and then they got a day off when they get back, which sort of brings us up to the next thing of that I think is interesting is what they did with Amir Garrett. And there's been a lot of talk about that, And the Reds have given their reasons of spreading out his innings a little bit. He's not gonna. I don't think he's going to start while he's down there. If he does, he won't go very long. They just want to, and I think they don't want him to get to 200. I think this year they're worried about that. I mean, he seems like he can. He's a big, strong guy, but you know how they are.
So
anymore.
that was the issue. It's innings pitched. It's not
Another year of control.
And it's another year of control. That's probably the biggest reason. Yeah. But they probably wanted to do that. But why the reason they're doing it now is because of the days off, and they can go 4-man rotation for about 10 days or 2 weeks. He's got to stay down at least 10 days, right? Something like that. So
yeah, they said that they expect him back by the 21st.
And he'll come back and start. I mean, he'll be back in rotation. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's what they're going to do with the rest of it. So we talked earlier, what was the thing you brought up earlier, too, about the rotation and who's going to be in there. What guys in this rotation right now will be pitching, starting for this team next year?
So I think we all agree Garrett is the guy that immediately comes to mind.
Yeah.
Although how many outings have we really seen the guy? 4 times?
6. He's had 6 starts.
Is
Five good ones.
Is that too early for us to be making that call?
If you had
he certainly has the stuff, and he's a lefty.
Well, maybe it's compared to everything else we've got that starts right now. But no, he is, and Welsh. I like listening to Welsh. I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah,
about
he's good.
him.
Yeah. He's fun.
But I really appreciate his experience as a pitcher and a major league pitcher at that. And he talks about keeping the ball low. And I'll say he had 4 good starts, 1 horrible start, and his last start I thought was so-so.
Yeah.
He just walked 4.
He started roughly. The game started roughly, but he sort of...
Yeah, and he just wasn't himself. He walked 4 batters. What did he go, 5 innings?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so when he gets that ball to where he wants it to be low, he is so effective. I think that size of his and that arm length, and he can really...
Well, and maybe having
effective.
a bad start and then a so-so start had played into this decision too. Maybe they thought we better pull the trigger.
Control.
We better pull the trigger on this idea. Maybe they were wishy-washy. He wasn't so great for a couple starts. Let's slow him down. Who knows? You don't know what these guys think. They tell you, we hear what they say, but nobody lies to you more than coaches and managers and everything else, especially to the reporters and stuff. Nobody.
So Bronson Arroyo, gotta admit, was he 3-2 now? I am.
He's
very
surprised
much
all of
surprised.
us.
If he can go 6 innings and give up no more than, as much as I hate to say it, give up no more than 3 runs, we take it.
Yeah, you do, especially with the offense you have and the bullpen you have.
I saw him interview the other day, and he says, "I'm having a hard time once I get over 80 pitches. I'm just hitting a wall."
Yeah.
And so he's struggling getting himself back in major league shape.
Yeah.
He's got that fastball up to 86 to 88. We laugh at it. For him, that's good.
Well, and it's a change of pace. Like I don't. The whole push lately in baseball has been, how hard can they throw, and that's who we're signing, and that's who we're pushing, and that's who we're promoting. But isn't there something to having a rotation with a variety of types of guys instead of everybody?
Like they used to put a knuckleballer in.
Yeah, and there's something to that. That's why you have lefties and righties, right? Is there something to a guy who, Arroyo's kind of like the crafty right-hander, He's become that.
I guess if Price can use him where they follow him up in that 6th inning when Arroyo goes out with who's the hard-throwing guy in the bullpen?
Lorenzen or Stevenson or somebody like that, yeah.
So that could be a nice combination.
It was nice to see Lorenzen get a save the other night, the old 3-inning save.
Yeah.
I was glad they kept him in just to give him consistent work rather than an inning.
Right.
That was good because he needs it. He needs to start giving us good results.
Yeah. And I think there's nothing says Lorenzen won't be a starter someday either. Yeah. Depends on what's happened. They got so many guys in the minors that I think they like that they don't know. They probably have a depth chart, but it probably changes almost every day. So to speak. They have this list and this map of here's this guy, and it's probably moving around. I mean, there's just there's some guys down there that can throw. There's some guys that we think are supposed to be great, like Stevenson, and he really hasn't been that good since Single A. But he's got stuff, So
who's our lefty in the bullpen?
Peralta.
Is that about it?
Cingrani.
And Cingrani who's on the DL.
Cody Reed was.
I don't think we'll ever see Cingrani back in the rotation, but
I don't either.
You got to have a lefty in the bullpen, though.
Well, you got a couple.
But you got to feel good about Lorenzen and Iglesias. Those are two solid guys right now in the bullpen.
Yeah, and Storen. Storen's been.
Yeah,
Storen was a really good signing. He has had a lot of good seasons, and he struggled a little bit the last couple of years. But new place, not having to come in and be the closer, just go out and pitch an inning here and there and do your thing. And
They got a
seems to
decent-
relax and.
They
He's
got him
pitching
for
well.
somewhat of a bargain too, right? Because he really
He was a free
hasn't
agent
done as well
signing.
lately.
Yeah.
So reminds me of the guy they signed. What was it, a couple of years ago from the Phillies, and he never pitched for him because of an injury. What was his name?
Who, Sean Marshall or
No. Marshall did sign.
he pitched some. Oh, I know who you mean, but I can't think of his name.
And Chapman ended up. That's when Chapman ended up being the ace of the bullpen.
Yeah, I can't think of that guy's name. Oh well, somebody tweeted at us if you listen.
All four of them.
Oh yeah, somebody will. Somebody tweeted. I can't remember who that was, but
Okay, so the Reds being in contention kind of changes the whole complexion of this team. So let's say they get to the All-Star break and they're within
Fine.
5 games, right? We were saying
in the
earlier,
wild card hunt anyway.
yeah, we were saying earlier this year that Cozart's just a matter of time before they get rid of Cozart. So they're within 5 at the All-Star break, or even after the All-Star break. Do they still deal Cozart, or do they play it to win?
And another variable on
As a
that.
fan, we want them to play it to win.
Of course.
You want to try to win when you can. You never know when you can, but
But another variable to
Depends
that
on what you get
question,
offered.
aside from winning or not, is who is being offered.
Sure.
If it's an incredible prospect
Right fielder?
or player, right fielder.
it's the next Schebler. I mean, come on. You know.
I'm still upset with the GM basically giving Chapman away.
Yeah, that was the worst.
That was
treatment.
horrible.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, don't you think
horrible.
every great team, you got to have a great number 3 hitter, which you can put Votto in that category, and you got to have a shutdown starter.
Well, you know how we use the expression, a once-in-a-lifetime player? Chapman, to me, has been a once-in-a-lifetime player. I have never seen a pitcher, and the stats back this up, who can throw consistently for
No
100
doubt.
mile an hour plus
No doubt.
and strikes this many out. What did he have, like 49 straight outings with at least one strikeout? That had never been done. He's truly been a once-in-a-lifetime pitcher.
Yeah.
And who do we get for him? Rookie Davis,
Yeah,
this, that.
yeah.
And look, the Yankees got a top prospect for him, and then the Yankees got him back a year later. I thought that was just a horrible, horrible move by our GM. And I think part of that had to do with the domestic abuse case.
I think
Because they
you're right.
wanted to have a little bit of a PR. I'm sitting there thinking, keep him, wait till next July. Some team is going to give you what you
Oh, you
want
get a
or
ran- you get ransom
over
and-
trade for him.
Yeah, way
And
bigger.
they didn't. He went ahead and made the move early, and horrible move.
Okay, as much as I love the Reds, I'm going to be a negative Reds fan here.
Oh well.
So likely,
go right ahead.
the likely path is the Reds are indeed who
We thought
they
were.
thought they were going to be. We get to the All-Star break, and they're 10-plus games out. Okay? So what's missing then for next season for them to be? I mean, I still like our top 6 or 7
the
hitters.
pitching. It's the starting. It's
gotta
the
be a-
rotation and
Yeah.
arm injuries are. I mean, look what happens. Look what's happened to the Mets. I mean, they're a disaster. And Matt Harvey's, he's off the rails. He's getting himself suspended because he won't follow team rules. Thinks he's already won 3 Cy Young awards. He's not even come close to 1. He acts like he has. So,
And his agent.
and his agent, he's Boris's agent, I think.
I don't remember, but I know a couple of years ago in the opening game, they was talked about shutting him down for the playoffs. His
Yeah.
agent came out that, and everyone was so upset with his
Yeah.
agent and Harvey himself.
So there's those issues. So you see, here are the Mets. They get to the World Series, they don't win it, and everybody's looking at them last year and this year, and they're pitching, and Syndergaard's hurt now, right? And so all these things. And so look at what happened to us. I mean, we got a guy who's thrown 2 no-hitters who can't throw, who, if he was healthy, would be a really good pitcher. DeSclafani would be really. If those guys were healthy,
But you need. I
look
feel
at the
like,
look at the 1-2 we'd have, and then you'd be feeling a lot better about it. So I think if it depends on the health of the rotation and those guys that are your big guns at the top, what's going to happen to them?
I mean, I agree.
that's-
I agree with you, Jeff. But I feel like to win the division or go deep in the playoffs, You got to have a Cy Young candidate,
You do.
and then you got to have other guys that have career years, right?
Yeah, well, that's what the Cubs had last year, and they're not getting it this year.
Right.
They're not getting.
And
Their starting
Indians
pitching is
too.
not very good, and the Indians is a little down. And
But I don't think the Reds have a Cy Young candidate on their roster. I mean, I guess Garrett has that potential. Maybe, I don't know.
You're big on Finnegan, right, Jeff?
well, I like Finnegan. I mean, I think
Will he ever be a Cy
I
Young
don't know.
candidate?
I don't know. I like him. I mean, he's got potential. I think they've got a bunch of guys who could be good.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to come out and be Doc Gooden? I don't know. I don't know if anybody is, but that's what you're asking for. Who's going to be Doc Gooden? Who's going to be Kershaw? Who's going to be this guy? Bumgarner.
Every fourth or
who's
fifth
hurt.
day, you just know they're going to.
Yeah, well, we had him and we traded him to the Royals 2 years ago.
Right. And the best recent memory Reds team that year that they lost to the Giants when they should have won.
Well,
We had Cueto, right?
and he got hurt.
Votto was MVP that year. So
It was.
So let's say, Tom, we do tank, and they trade Cozart. So we move our second baseman over to short.
right.
Dilson Herrera. Anybody hear anything from him? Because
I don't think he's hitting yet.
in spring training, it was all about his shoulder.
Yeah, and I don't think he's hitting in AAA right now.
And in spring
Was Dick
training, you know what
Scooter
they
in there?
did? They put him at DH. They didn't have him in the field
Really?
throwing it all.
I don't think Scooter's a long-term solution.
No,
I think
he's not.
Scooter's a utility player.
Great pickup, though.
Yeah, he's
But
yeah.
you're right,
Oh
I
yeah.
agree. I
Talk
don't
about a
think
guy with little hearts popping out of his chest. This guy here with Scooter Gennett. Every time Scooter Gennett gets a hit, I love that pickup. I said at the time that was a great pickup.
I did.
And he's right.
Who
But
was
he
that?
doesn't walk. He never walks. His on base isn't great, but he does come up with some big plays and key hits.
Plus, he's got a name Scooter. Who doesn't like that?
Phil Rizzuto.
The original Scooter.
Oh wait, another thing we're doing on this podcast is you were going to reveal the nickname. For the Reds. Jeff Gilbert was going to.
Pressure's on.
I referred to Arizmendi Alcantara as Double A the other day, and said that's where he belongs when he was about 1 for 12. But
He's been on fire since.
he's been hit. Then he had 5 straight hits. So I don't have a good Double A. How about that? That's as good as I got.
Not Chevy Debbie do.
Chevy Debbie do.
Oh, that's great.
That was
With a heart.
when he
With
hit,
a heart.
when he
in
hit
the
that
text.
when he hit a home run a week ago or something, and I texted Chevy Debbie do. Yeah, that was fun.
Tom, I don't know if you know this. I've told Jeff, but when Chevs gets a clutch hit or a homer, I'm grabbing my phone and I'm hurrying up and saying Chevs before Jeff does.
To beat him.
I got to have the preemptive strike. All I have to say is Chevs. That's
And now
all.
I just do a heart. So
We need to find a poster and get it for
He's
Jeff.
already got one, I'm sure.
You already got them all over your room?
no, I don't. Is there next year? Assuredly,
Here we
there will
go.
be
Bobblehead.
there
night?
will be a Sheb's bobblehead or poster day or souvenir bat day, and I'm going. I'll be there. I'll be one of those first
We'll
20,000.
be right with you, brother.
I'll be one of those first 20,000 in through the gates to get my.
I thought you say the first 20.
Yeah, they're all going to give away 20. Limited edition. It'll be more valuable.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, he's. Hey, but you're right. You talk about top 6. I was watching 60 Minutes last night for a while, and they were interviewing Theo
Cubs.
Epstein.
That was a great piece.
Did you see that?
Yep.
And Epstein talked about, he built the Cubs offensively first instead of pitching. And that was interesting what he said. I mean, and the guys, look what he's done. He brought a World Series to Boston. He brought one to Chicago. The guy's pretty good. So his theory on that was pitchers get hurt more. Offensive players can be more steady, productive, more consistent than pitchers tend to be. We're going to build an offense, a young offense, and look at some of the bats he's got in that lineup. And we're going to carry that, and then we're just going to have to keep remaking the
Fill in with pitching.
You're going to have to remake. Look how much people have to remake pitching staffs. It's like every year.
Mind you,
How many teams? When we had Lados and Bailey and Cueto and Leak and
Roy was our 5th guy.
and Roy. I think maybe 2 years in a row we had the same 5-man rotation back-to-back
We
years.
had guys go quality innings for the
Yeah.
Reds. And that
Yeah,
team was
yeah.
7 innings.
Yeah, but like that is such an anomaly that you could have 2 years in a row with like the same 5 guys in the rotation pretty much all year. That's just weird. That doesn't happen. So I think he's onto something of like, we can make the offense consistent. We got this. And we're going to have to remake pitching all the time.
He also talked, it was interesting, about the heart in players and how he was looking for
Character.
the character and the heart of players. Now, I was just thinking, who is that on the Reds? Who's Johnny Gomes? Remember?
Johnny Gomes, left
he
fielder.
was. Remember how he was kind of the competitive heart behind those teams?
Yeah.
And by the way, he went to other teams and did well.
Red Sox.
Yeah,
And
he was that kind
A's.
of guy.
So
I don't know.
who is that on the Reds right
I
now?
think it's early to tell. I don't know who that is. I mean, it's not Votto. I mean,
No.
Votto's a mentor to some of these guys as hitters, but Votto is not. He's not that. Well, Billy is.
Billy has a little bit of that.
Billy's got a dance for every guy after their home run.
He does.
In the dugout. He's got a different dance and handshake and all that jazz.
It's not Cozart. It's not Duvall.
It's not Suarez.
No, he's
No.
a quiet guy.
Right now, it's Billy's our emotional
Billy's
leader.
like an emotional leader.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Bronson, I think, has been a good clubhouse presence for the Reds.
Probably. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know about even the bottom of the order. The last, like, Schebler, Barnhart, Mesoraco. I don't know about any of those guys as far as personality that way, but I think Billy's sort of and he's the catalyst anyway for so much.
Yeah.
For him to keep hitting is just makes his team. They're better when he's on base. They're just absolutely
No doubt
better.
about it. You get him on base twice a game,
I mean,
things are going to happen.
I remember seeing him playing at Dayton when he was stealing 100 bases. I saw 3 or 4 games, and he'd get on base, and everybody was the buzz in the crowd, and he's dancing off first, and the pitchers are rushing their deliveries. And he's just steal, and you know it's
I
coming.
wonder how he does it physically, sliding that often on the ground. Remember Ricky Henderson when he set the stolen base record that year? He was all bruised and beat up from all the steals he was doing. I'm sure Hamilton's the same thing.
Oh yeah, there's not much to him. I mean, he bounces along the ground. There's really nothing to him.
That'll be hard
Yeah.
all season, 162 games.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Is this gonna be a team? What were we 7-2? Then we went like 3-11, and now we're like 7-1 or whatever the roller coaster is. You think that's going to continue to a degree, or do you think it's going to level out? Is it going to be all good? It's not going to be. We're not going to go 7-1 every 8 games, but we're not going to go 3-11 every 14. Is this a 500 team still, or what do you think?
I'm really nervous about the next couple of weeks with going with the 4-man rotation. With the 4-man rotation, including Arroyo, Feldman, Adelman, and tonight's guy who who has not impressed so far, Rookie Davis. I'm really nervous about that. And I think
the Yankees will be tough these next few games.
2 to 3 weeks.
We'll see how the Giants are.
Yeah. Well, somebody
Did
made
you hear
it.
the record? The Reds at AT&T Park?
Pack or whatever it is, yeah. No.
14-5.
Really?
The last 19 games, they are like 14-5 in San Fran.
Well, that's weird. It's a pitcher's park. Doesn't make a lot
It
of
is.
sense.
It is.
I mean, the whole West Division are pitcher's parks pretty much, except for Denver. But
So I think we would be happy. I don't want to speak for you guys, but I think we would be happy with a 500 team this year.
yeah, I mean, we said before, well, maybe when they were in that bad funk a week ago, well, maybe they'll win 70.
In the 70s, yeah.
70 to 76.
Right now, they're on a pace for like 85, 86 probably. But
If we win 80 games, I think that would be a great year for
With what
them.
they have, it's a good year.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a good year. I don't think it's a good year based on the lineup and the bullpen. I think it's a good year based on the rotation problems.
Absolutely. It's starting pitching.
Well, the lineup because it's youthful and it will probably have its ups and downs. You will see every one of these guys, all these young guys.
No,
Maybe not
wait,
Joey,
I was going to say, wait a minute. Why?
not Joey,
That's not.
and maybe not Cozart. But I think you're going
The
to.
first 5 are not youthful.
Billy's what,
Billy's never
26,
had-
27?
How
Billy's-
many years has he been in the major leagues?
Okay,
About
maybe
4?
Maybe Billy will not have a big slump again. Cozart, I don't think will. They'll have their mini slumps. Votto won't.
Duvall, the jury's out. Jury's out.
Duvall, I think I got faith. I got more faith in Duvall. I got pretty good faith in Suarez.
Suarez is a
I
young
love
guy.
Schebler, but I understand that he has not done it for a whole year. And Mesoraco, we don't know what we're going to end up getting out of him.
Right.
He's still rusty.
And Barnhart's fine. He'll hit for a decent average, but he doesn't do much else but,
I think he does a good job of throwing out runners.
Well, he does. I mean, he's a good defensive player. Yeah, you can't.
He's a great guy.
Well,
off
that's
the
the
bench.
other thing about this team is they are like the best defensive team in the league, or one of the 2 or 3 best in Major League Baseball right now. They only have like 13 errors.
Without Phillips.
Yeah, he made a really good play on top 10 the other day. They showed
that.
it
I
was
missed it.
vintage Brandon Phillips going deep to his left, catching the ball when it was past him, spinning around on the ground, getting up, throwing a guy out at first. It was like, I do miss that.
I was going to say, Tom, it's really interesting. You talk about, okay, let's say we're at 10 games under. And then I start thinking of Senzel.
He's tearing it up right now in AAA.
And Senzel.
Is he?
Yeah,
Well, not
Senzel's
AAA.
a third
but
baseman,
he's
right?
still in Daytona. He's in Single A. He's not coming up this year.
But he has got the it factor. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay,
Suarez
depending
can
on
play.
everything else, let's say they move Cozart. Then you put Peraza at second. I'm sorry, Peraza moves from second to short. Or
Suarez
do
can
you,
play
short.
Suarez can play
Goes to
short.
do you keep Peraza at second, move Suarez to short,
Yeah,
Right.
and put Senzel at third?
yeah, that could happen down the road. It's
Let
just-
him have a half a season of Major League pitching to get him
Yeah,
oriented.
Because he is our future.
he's the number 1 prospect, and I saw him play a few times last year. The guy pounds. I mean, he hits it hard all
Yeah.
the time, and he looks like a major league player when you watch
So
him
do
on
you
the
think
field.
we'll have him up
He's
late
not.
April, May?
I think he's got work to do on the defensive side down there, but if he's a hard worker, I don't think we have anything to worry
work
about.
ethic, you're right.
What'd you say?
Do you think we will have him late April, early May? Because remember, the Cubs did not bring up Chris Bryant until after a certain point because of that extra year
Right.
of control.
Well, I have a feeling he will be. I think he's still in Daytona, right? I think
So sometime in June, good chance he'll be
he'll
at
be in
Double A.
Double A. If he
And if he
he's
does well
really hot
there,
right
good
now.
chance he'll hit Triple A in Louisville.
He could,
And,
Just
or he
depends
could
on how
skip and go
decide
right
they-
up to Cincinnati come September.
Depends on what kind of well, they could bring him up, give him some at bats just to see how he handles it. I don't know if they'll fast track him or not, but right now you look at it like he's not an answer this year because he's in Single A. He's not going to play in the majors.
No. I'm not just saying this year. I'm saying for the future.
But next year, it's possible. I mean, he played college ball. He's probably 22 or 23 now. Get him if he can hit, get him up there.
And we got,
But they got to be sure he can field the position.
our catcher in the minor, Stevenson.
And he's still in Dayton because he was hurt like crazy last year. Didn't get to play much,
Okay.
but he's been playing well. Dayton's off to a good start. Okie, who the guy they drafted out of Clemson last year, played in Dayton and hit the ball well. But the last I saw a week ago or whatever, he wasn't really hitting in Daytona.
Who
So
was the high schooler? I'm trying to remember. They drafted from the Atlanta area. The same year they drafted Senzel.
Okie and Senzel were the top 2 picks last year.
Or they maybe last year or 2 years
last
ago.
year. Because
There's
they
a
signed.
kid-
they,
there was a
they
kid
signed
from-
and played in Billings for about 2 weeks,
There
and
was
then
a
came
high
to Dayton.
schooler they got out of the state
Well,
of
that's
Georgia.
Stevenson, I think. 2 years ago. I think that's Stevenson.
He wasn't a catcher, though.
I don't remember off the
I have
top
to
of
go
my
back and look when we're
You're
done.
right, though, Kim. If all of a sudden we start losing, all of a sudden things change and they start throwing people out there, and
Yeah,
it becomes not as fun to watch anymore because they're just throwing whoever out there to try them.
yeah, which is what we dealt with last year a lot.
Right.
So, we'll see.
All right, so let's say we have our next podcast a week from now.
Yeah.
Where do you think the Reds are going to be a week from now? Go around the horn.
I think they probably between now and then they probably play 500 ball. They're going on the road. They're
If we
going
can do that, I'd take
They're
it.
going out west. They got the Yankees in town. I don't know what the score is now because we're paused the game here. But they got the Yankees for 2 games. You don't. To beat the Yankees twice, gonna be tough.
Right.
Go to San Francisco and then Chicago coming back. I mean,
Is it
if
Chicago at our place?
if they can win half their games before they get back home, they'll still be 3-4 games over 500 and maybe not in first place anymore if the Cubs get hot. But the Cubs, I think will be good in the end. Their starting pitching.
Their pitching is
it's not
not,
that.
yeah.
It's not what it was last year. Last year, you just knew what you had, and you always got it. I mean, Lester, I think, will still be good. Arrieta's not what he was.
No.
Maybe he will be. Lackey is a guy who's had good years, so years. That type of pitcher. So
Hendricks still pitching for him.
yeah, he had to pinch hit last night late.
Mad
I
ball.
went to bed. I turned off the light after the ninth inning of that game. As soon as Rizzo got hit by that pitch and they went to extra innings, I turned it off. I woke up around just before 2, looked at my phone and saw it was still going, and they'd just taken the lead, so I turned it on and I watched the last 15 minutes of it. There were more strikeouts in that game last night than any game in Major League history.
I heard.
Wow.
47, I think.
And one of the teams, I don't know if it's Chicago or the Yankees, but one of the team, they had the most strikeouts ever from their pitchers and the most strikeouts ever from their hitters.
Yeah. I mean, every pitcher, if you look at the box, every guy that pitched one inning, which pretty much a lot of guys did, all had at least one strikeout. And the starters had like 9 and 10, through like 7. So it was already a pretty high strikeout game. So it was 6 hours long, longest Sunday night game in history. And then it was funny, I had it on, and I was getting ready to turn it off, and of course the game's over. They talked to Starlin Castro, and they pop on Sports Center right away, and the guys on Sports Center were funny. They said, well, there we go. Starlin Castro was just the interview for the star of the game. He went 0 for 8.
0 for 8, yeah.
But he had the winning RBI on a fielder's choice.
Fielder's choice.
So that was pretty funny, and a former Cub, taking it to the Yankees. So, all right, anything else? We will wrap this up.
I'll just end by saying if we can go 500 now, 7 games, but if we can finish 3 and 4,
we'll still be
that's
in
a good
first?
thing. Now, if we if we get swept by the Yankees, that makes us 3 and 6. That's not good. Now we're at 500.
Yeah.
So, pending again on this pause, because we're down 3-1 as far as we know.
In a second.
If we can split this one at worst, and then go 3 and 4, that puts us 2 games over 500. In just a week from now, a little over a week from now.
I am worried that without Garrett, we're missing the closest thing we have to ace.
Well, maybe. Adelman's been pitching well, and Feldman, great start yesterday. I don't expect every time, but maybe he'll have a little run of. Maybe he'll have 5 or 6 good starts in a row. Pitchers do that. Starting pitchers do that. They'll have 4, 5, 6 good starts in a row, and then sort of be themselves again. And that's the best we can. I mean, all you can do is hope, because we don't have the hammers that we're supposed to have. So.
Yep.
Anyway, let's. What was our trivia question again? Where did Pete Rose hit 3 home runs? What year was it?
I'm going to tell you, it was either 77 or 78.
Okay, and you were there.
Yeah.
From the left
did you have
side?
your ball glove on your hand?
Was it from the left side, or did he do it from both sides?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I really don't remember. I think they were all 3 lefty. I remember the last one because the last one barely cleared the outfield wall. And he was between first and second. And I can remember as he was going, pump that fist in the air that it went over as he was going between, again, first and second base. And I vividly remember that still.
Of course, Pete Rose was already around first base before it went over the fence.
He was sprinting.
It was a high one that barely went over.
All right. Well, with that, we will bid you adieu. Say go Reds, beat the Yankees, beat the Giants, beat the Cubs, and whoever else dare come to Great American Ballpark after that. We'll see you later.